we could probably spend a whole seminar on tips for protecting your IP, but I have two suggestions. If you've got a new design for that iPad case or a certain product that you don't want knocked off, well, keep in mind that China has changed a lot. You can register your product in China, your IP, I mean. It's not expensive to do. I'm not in this business. I'd be happy to put you in touch with my IP lawyers. But for a small fee, under $1,000, you can register a trademark. You can get your utility patents covered. China is a first to register rather than first to market system. That means if you show me this great idea here at the trade show, I'm like, hey, that's a pretty good idea, and I go to Beijing and register your brand name and your idea, I own it in China, even if you've been selling it in your home country for 20 years. So if you have a cool idea, register it in China before you start talking to suppliers and getting quotes. The other thing that you can do, and I'm in this line of work as well, but there are other service providers you can use, is consider a black box. A black box is when you have a trusted partner in China. You buy the components from suppliers, you deliver it to that trusted partner in China, and they put it together. They put in the secret sauce software. They do the branding and then ship it to you or your customers direct. So there are third parties in China that can protect the intellectual property by keeping the suppliers at a distance. Some other issues to be aware of. If you're doing any type of customization, if you've got a pen, but now you're going to implant a GPS tracking system, so if your office coworker steals it, you can track them down. You're going to put LoJack on this pen, something that's never done before. Well, now you're talking about adjusting tooling. There's going to be new molds. There's going to be some expenses up front to adjust the production line. Ask your supplier, if I'm paying for this tooling and you're making this new type of pen just for me, what happens if I go out of business, or what happens if I need to move the tooling because you do a good job, do a poor job? You should be very clear about who owns the tooling from day one. So many times I've seen relationships where the small buyer trains up this big factory on a great new idea, and then the buyer can't deliver the orders. The supplier says, you know, you're too small, oh, the tooling's broken. I'm sorry, we can't make it, we can't continue production. It's not broken, it's being used to make parts for your larger competitor that's selling to Walmart. So if you're going to do anything customized that requires tooling, own the tooling. You can hire third parties that will store the tooling and look after it so that the supplier can't run midnight shifts or stuff out the door. So if you have really good ideas, you can protect yourself in China, believe it. Okay, I told you I wouldn't talk a lot about my company, but I said nothing about a shameless book plug for the book that I wrote. It's online at that point. I think I've got 4 copies down at the booth below that for $100. They're available, 4 copies. But if you want the PDF version of it, it's also available online at that website. And now this book isn't Mike's Adventures in China. It's not my story. It's basically the operation manual for my sourcing agency. Here are the 10 steps to write a purchase order. Here is an actual purchase order. Photocopy it and use it yourself. How to do an audit. Here's an actual audit report. Photocopy it, use it yourself. So it's an operation manual. Okay, I'd like to